If you're new to my YouTube channel, please click that subscribe button and remember to click the bell icon to get notifications of all my uploads throughout the week. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's the first Saturday of a brand new month and it's time for a new challenge over on our Mission Inspiration Facebook group. Now this month the mission and the prompts have all been set by our guest mission controller Linda Simpson. So if you want to watch the video prompts for this, I will link that in the description below, along with the link for the Mission Inspiration Facebook group, which you can see on the screen right at this very moment too. There will also be a link in the description, a clickable link in the description area below this video. So without further ado, I will show you what I've created this month based on the prompts by Agent L, and then I'll join with you again back at the end. So these are the prompts for the Mission Inspiration for April 2018. Kindly supplied this month by our guest mission controller Linda Simpson. So as you can see, we've got some great nice kind of springish colours to work with. We've got pistachio yellow, brush pink, we've got some nice words for inspiration and our 8 prompts. So I'm going to be working in my Mission Inspiration journal. This is the journal that I set up specifically for the missions this year, and I've already taken out one of my sheets from my journal. Now this is an 8" by 8" piece of 300 GSM watercolour cardstock. That's £140 in weight if you use the Imperial. So to get started then, we've got step number 1, which is to add a thin wash of paint or gesso. So I need to crack out my paintbrushes or a baby wipe and some paint. So for step number 1, I've decided to add my colour with a baby wipe rather than a brush. So I've got this kind of, well, it's called soft green, but I think it's more like pistachio than any other colour I think that I've got. If I grab the Tim Holtz cracked pistachio, to me that's a bit more acid green, but I suppose it's all open to interpretation. If you've got a colour which is similar to pistachio, then use it. If you haven't got anything which is exactly the same, then just use something which is very, very similar too. So I'm just going to add a little bit of paint onto, and I'm just going to gently rub it so that it soaks quite nicely into the background. So obviously the pistachio colour is once you remove the shell. So I'll just go over the entire sheet. That gives it a really nice kind of greenish base colour in which to work from. And of course it's not perfect. It is lighter in some areas and darker in others, which is absolutely perfect and just the kind of thing that we want. So let's grab the heat gun and get that dry, and then we can move on to the next step after this. So my base is now completely dry, so it's time to have a look at step number 2. So step number 2 is to add texture through a stencil. Now I've already got some modelling paste that I've put on my glass mat here with a spatula, and I've used a fine modelling paste, and I got this tub from Indigo Blue. It's quite big and heavy. The reason I'm using that one is because I've got this one from Winsor & Newton and it's nearly all gone. Nearly all gone. So add texture through a stencil. So I'm going to use this Fleur de Lis stencil, which is one of mine and is available now on my website if you're interested. And I'm just going to take a little bit and add just some of that pattern into the background over here. scrape it on, scrape it off. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact, but just a little touch here and there, just to give you a hint of that pattern. Just a little bit more there. When I develop these background stencils, I try to do it so that if you want to, you can just offset the stencil to do larger areas. So this will tessellate, you just have to literally just move it over and then carry on with your pattern if you want to. I'm going to put another little bit down here. Let's just clean off that excess there. I said you wouldn't need a lot of this stuff. I'm just going to add some more just down here. Not going mad. That'll do, I think. There we go. That'll do. That'll do. And of course, with all modelling paste and stencils, you do need to wash it off before it dries, because otherwise it's an absolute devil to get off. It will come off if you soak it long enough, but it's a lot easier to remove it while it's still wet than when it's dry. And the same thing with your spatulas and tools. Clean while it's still wet if you can. Okay, so just clean that excess off my mat. Try not to bang the table too much. I think that'll just about do it. I'll get that dried with this and then I'll clean off my stencil and then I'll be right back. So my modelling paste has now dried sufficiently for me to be able to work on it, and as you can see I've done it in threes, so I've created a kind of visual triangle around the page, and it helps draw your eye across and back again. So whenever you do anything in threes, try to do it so that there's a clear kind of triangle shape amongst it, so it helps to draw the eye around the page. It just makes it a little bit more visually pleasing. Okay, so step number 3, we're going to be gluing some patterned paper shapes. So I've got some music paper here that was recently sent to me in Happy Mail, and I also have 2 butterfly punches, different size butterfly punches. These are old ones from Stamping Up. I don't even know whether they still do them. I'm sure if they do, somebody will let me know in the comments below and thus let you know if you're interested in purchasing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out, once again, just 3 of each size of butterfly. So I've got 3 large and 3 small. So I'll just lock that punch back off again and then take the smaller punch, it's a really dinky one, and then we'll punch out. Will I be able to get all the way up there to those notes? I think I will. So I've now got 3 little mini butterflies. So put the rest of that paper away. So I've now got 3 large butterflies and 3 small butterflies, and I'm going to stick these into the background of my art journal page. Again, I'm going to just cluster them a little bit so that we've got little ones and large ones all together. Now you can stick these down if you want to with collage glue stick, or you can use matte medium. Whatever glue makes you happy. So I'm just positioning these how I think they're going to look best. I like that. Again, you've got a line then winding through, so your eye's been drawn around, but also you've got a nice line of progression up there. So let's have a look. Glue stick. Let's use one of the little Diane Reevely collage glue sticks. I think that's going to be perfect for this kind of size work. He says trying to lift everything back up again. Oh. Hands are a bit shaky today, so I just add a little bit of glue. So that's one. Stick that down. Then we'll do a little one. Yeah. Even wetting my finger didn't work. So we'll just give that a little bit of glue over. A glue over as opposed to a do over. And we'll do this one. Come on, fingers, do the work. Digits, don't fail me now. See, I was trying to avoid having any wording, any verbiage, but I've got it anyway. Never mind. That's because I didn't stick the right side down. It is of no consequence. Pay it no mind. It is of no moment. And other old-fashioned ways of saying, don't stress it. Don't stress it. Let's do you there. And then we can do that little one, that lidgy one. Come on, there we go. And I'll just pop you going off into the corner. Just like that, as they say. Right, so glue stick away. Grab another wet wipe. I go through hundreds of these. Hundreds. Let's just clear off the excess glue, because we don't want it getting in the way, do we? No, we don't. Okay, so do you know I'm doing this and I've not turned my phone off. I've not put it on silent like I normally do. Whoops, naughty boy. Okay, so going to give that a minute or two to dry, and then I'll be right back. In the meantime, I'm going to turn my phone on to silent, just in case, because you know, if I don't do it, somebody's bound to ring and interrupt me. Okay, I'm back. They've dried. The phone's turned off. Let's just relook at what the next step is. So step number 4 is to add a focal image or two. Okay, so I'm going to use my new Spring Bloom stencil. You can probably see it better there. I've masked off already some bits that I don't want to use. I recently used this when I made some cards, and I used this main flower in the middle here with these two bits at the side. Today I'm going to use the kind of tulipy one here and this flower on this side. So we had a momentary blip on focus then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move that to one side. I'm going to show you the colours that I'm going to use. So bearing in mind we've got pistachio yellow and pink, I've brought out my Dina Wakley lemon, which is yellow obviously. I have another green, which is evergreen, because I need a darker green to the background green, which we used. And then we've got blushing, which is kind of a blushy pink. It's lighter than that one, but it's probably the lightest pink that I've got, and I don't really want to start mixing up a lighter colour with white just to get that exact shade. I'm just going to use what I've got. If you haven't got the exact shades, it don't matter. Like I said before, don't stress it. But I've also going to introduce a little bit of red. Now, I like red tulips, so I'm going to make my tulip red. So there. It's my art journal page and I'll do it how I want. Anyway, right, I've also got some pieces of sponge. Now this was just an old bath sponge that, well, not an old bath sponge, I actually bought it specifically to cut up into small pieces like this. It's a little bit coarser than a cosmetic sponge, but I like the effect that it gives me. So I'm going to just push down on that masking tape, which is going to hold the stencil in place, and then I'm going to put a little daub of green. I'm not going to put a lot because I don't think I'm going to need a lot. And I'm just going to load up the sponge, work it out so I know it's going into the sponge, and then I'm going to start stenciling over. Bearing in mind this is a stencil, so you're not going to get perfect crisp lines, but you do have a little bit of control. Keep catching that corner. Just push down a little bit harder. That should give me that one. Just try and lift that off gently. There we go. And then I'll just move this one in because I want to get this one next to it. And I'll just pop that down, grab some more. Because if you've got a stencil brush, use the stencil brush. Just do it the way you know you get the best results. Go all the way to the top. Just build up the colour. You can do it 2 or 3 times if you want. Like I said, it's your art journal page, you do it the way you want to do it. That's why I love art journaling. Because there's no right and no wrong. Okay, so put that one to one side, green one to one side, grab another wet wipe. Oh, I've still got that one that I used earlier. I'm just going to remove that green. I've noticed I've got a little bit of masking tape from there, which we can get rid of. I'm going to give this a quick blast just to get that green dry before moving on to the next bit. So my green is now dry and I've laid the stencil back down again, and I'm going to take a little bit of that ruby red. I'm just going to put a little bit on my craft mat, grab another sponge, just work that in. And then I'm going to just gently go round . There we go. While that stencil's still down, I'm going to put a tiny little bit of the yellow down. Grab another sponge. And then I'm just going to go over the stalk bits there. and then grab that pink, a little bit to the craft mat, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of pink just into that centre part of the tulip, just a hint, and then I'm going to remove the stencil. There we go. Give that a quick blast. Okay, that's dry enough. Then I'm going to replace the stencil back down over the flower over here. Just give it a little push just where that was, and then this time add a little bit more of that pink down and a little bit more of the yellow. And then I'm going to load up my sponge and then go over like so. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to grab that yellow and go into the middle. Just like that. And then I'm going to remove the stencil. Cool. Like that. I'm not going to go mad with it, I'm just going to have a couple. So I'm just going to put those to one side. I'll get this lot cleaned off. There we go. So I don't go sticking my big fat elbows in it. Go in the bin now. Then I'm just going to quickly dry this off. And then I'll be right back. Now, for some strange reason, my camera just decided to shut itself down after about 2 seconds when I started filming, adding this bit. So I'd better explain what I did. So at that point, we're at the make marks with household items. So I added a little bit of yellow paint that we'd used just here, and then I used the end of the eraser end of a pencil to create those little solid marks. Then I also used a pen lid from a felt tip pen, like so, just to create those circles with the yellow paint. Don't know why the camera just decided to shut itself off. It just did. So I do apologise for that. So I've just added in those yellow points up there. So I just need to get those dry now. So I realised it had shut it off just as I was finishing. So I'm just going to give this a quick blast and then I will be right back. So they're all now dry. So ready to move on to the next step, which is to add a border of your choice. So for that, I'm going to bring in a little bit of black, because we have black now in the musical notes for the butterflies. So this is the Pigma Micron number 5 archival ink pen. As you can see, number 5, which is a nice, decent sized tip, not too fine, but not too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off just by adding a few little flower doodles into the corners, all 4 corners. And then I'm going to just do those wavy line borders. Two or 3 times, just because they're easy to do. Remember to vary your wobble. You should get. It's not as easy as it sounds, actually. Particularly when you're going over the top of modelling paste. And then because we've got a little bit of black around the borders in there, I'm actually going to go in, I'm just going to add a little bit of doodling, maybe just strengthen the edges of those tulips. Like so. Just helps to kind of bring it all together just by adding a little bit of outline in. And I could use the stencil as a template, but for this my hands aren't hurting too much today, so I think I've got a little bit of control. Which is kind of cool. And then I can just do some scribbly circles just to kind of unify some of those dots that we had. Like so. And if you wanted to, you could also go around your butterflies. That's not going to do you any harm at all. Just helps to kind of I'll bring it all together when you're doing the same thing with all of your elements. And of course, as long as you go slow and steady, if your hands aren't as steady as they used to be, particularly if you've got dexterity issues, there's no reason why you can't do something just like this. The secret is just to take it steady and slow. You don't have to rush. There we go. Not perfect, but what is? Okay, so there's nothing really to dry on there now. So let's move straight on to the next step, which is to add a quote using one or more from the suggested words. So we've got nature, flower, showers, trees, and April. I'm just going to use April and showers. And I'm going to journal the two words, I think, just here. See if I can fit it in without ruining it. And then my final step, number 8, finish with splats, drip or raindrops. So I have some sky blue paint and I need a fan brush, and guess what? Oh yes, there it is. I've got one that I thought was in need of washing, but there we go. I've got some water, so let's add some blue paint onto our worktop. Get some water in there. And then we can start to add our little raindrops. I'm trying to avoid getting too many over there. That'll do. Let's get the rest cleaned up. So you don't have to go mad. A little goes a long way. Let's get that dried and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my raindrops are now dry, but I don't like the way that this is kind of floating, sort of. This is kind of grounded into the doodling. So I just want to change this doodling a little bit at the bottom on the frame. I'm just going to use the same pen. So what I'm going to do when we get to about here is I'm just going to now just change that doodling a little bit so it now kind of just brings that kind of all together. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So let's just have a look to see what we've done so far. We added a thin wash of paint with paint or gesso. We used the soft green for the pistachio colour, so we've used a green paint, so we can tick that off. Added texture through a stenciler with that fleur-de-lis. Glue pattern paper shapes with our little butterflies. Added a focal image or two with the stencil and the paint. Made marks with household items with the pencil and with that pen lid. Added a border of choice, so we've added a black doodly border. Add quote using one or more from the suggested words, so we added the words April showers. And then finished with splats, drips or raindrops, so we've done splattered raindrops. We used April and we used showers. We've also got the yellow in there too, and we've got a little bit of that blushing pink in one of the flowers. I'd say that was mission accomplished for April. Wouldn't you? So I really am getting in the mood for these kind of spring colours already. So this is my third project where I've been getting kind of colourful and ready for a little bit of sunshine. So I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I hope you feel inspired enough to want to join us over on the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. Again, I'll put the address on screen now, but there is a clickable link in the description area below. I'll also put a link to the video prompt from Linda in the description area below, but you'll also be able to click it as the last upload at the end of this video. So there'll be like a little icon, the one on the left I think, left. I don't know which way around you're going to be able to see this. Anyway, it'll be the one on the left that you can click, and that will take you straight to the video prompt of Linda reading through her prompts for April. I think that's enough rambling from me for now. So that's it for me. I will speak to you all and see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, without whose generosity and support these videos would not be possible. Thank you.